Welcome back to Rocky Road Trip. We actually are going to be finishing the book today. So, to review what happened last time, they finally figured out what Carlos's rock was, and it was gold, and it was from Bright Angel Mine. So, I believe that is where they're off to, and they are in a stagecoach now, the Magic School stagecoach. All right, Chapter 7. The Magic School stagecoach tore across the tumbleweed-dotted desert. We followed Mr. Chee's directions down a lonely road that wound through small hills. Ms. Frizzle and I had both put on cowboy hats and bandanas to keep the dust out of our faces. Suddenly, I saw something that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. "Miss Frizzle, what is that?" I asked, pointing to a group of buildings huddled by a river valley not far away. "I believe that's a ghost town, Carlos," Miss Frizzle said, "and Bright Angel Mine must not be far away." I leaned down to yell into the window of the stagecoach. "We're headed for a ghost town," I called to everybody. "Did somebody say ghosts?" Arnold asked. I didn't hear what Arnold said next, because Ms. Frizzle pulled back on the reins and the horses whinnied as they came to a stop. "Would you hold the horses, Marita?" Ms. Frizzle asked. "I want to take a picture." A bunch of us jumped down from the stagecoach and posed for the Frizz, and just as she snapped the photo, I heard a spooky wind travel through the ghost town. I wondered if any ghosts would show up on the film when we developed it. We all climbed back to the coach in a hurry. The horses took off running. Soon we were riding down the main street of the ghost town. We passed an old hotel, a saloon, and lots of abandoned buildings with broken windows and shutters banging in the wind. All the buildings looked ready to fall down. And now we have a note from the desk of Ms. Frizzle about ghost towns. During the Arizona gold rush of the 1860s, towns sprang up near places where gold was found. The buildings were put together quickly with cheap materials, and when the gold ran out, miners left the towns as fast as they had come. Many ghost towns still stand, with empty streets and spooky buildings. Only a ghost would want to live there. And if you ever do go out west, you can find ghost towns online, and I've actually gone to a few of them. They're pretty fun and interesting. Mr. Chee stuck his head out of the stagecoach window behind us. "Miss Frizzle," he called out, "take the next road to the right that leads down to the river." "You bet, partner," Miss Frizzle said with a tug on her cowboy hat. I was glad to leave that ghost of a town. The stagecoach bumped down the road to an old wooden bridge over the river. Mr. Chee called out for us to stop before the bridge. The Frizz and I jumped off our seats and tied up the Magic School horses. "Follow me over here to that bend in the river," Mr. Chee said to us after everyone had piled out of the stagecoach. "We're going to pan for some gold." "Why are we looking for gold in a river?" Ralphie asked. "I thought we were going to a gold mine." The old gold prospectors found lots of gold in the rivers," Mr. Chee explained. "When the softer rock around the gold ore wears away, the rock gets carried by water into riverbeds. It settles down in the stones and sand at the bottom of the river. Here, I have a couple of pans with me. Who wants to try?" How could we pass up that golden opportunity? D.A., Tim, Phoebe, and Wanda went first. Then Arnold, Ralphie, and Keisha were next. I panned last with Ms. Frizzle. I scooped up 4 loads of sand and gravel from the bottom of the riverbed, but I didn't see a sparkle of gold. All right, now, from Micah Chee's notebook, we have directions for panning for gold. Here's how to pan for gold. Number 1, find a stream near an old gold mine. Number 2, use a shallow pan and scoop up the sand and gravel at the bottom of the stream bed. Number 3, work the pan in a circular motion with the water. The lighter material will go toward the edges. Look at the heavier material that goes in the center and bottom of the pan. Do you see a shiny yellow grain, flake, or nugget? Do the streak test. If the streak is yellow, you found real gold. "I guess things just aren't going to pan out for you, Carlos," D.A. said with a grin. I brought up one last scoop of stones and sand, and that's when I saw it. A stone about the size of a marble caught the gleam of the sun. "I've struck it rich," I yelled. Everybody came running over to see what I had found. And then we have an article here by Carlos called, "Are You Fooling Me?" Many prospectors thought they had found gold, but they were wrong. Instead, they had found fool's gold. That's a nickname for a mineral called pyrite. How do you tell pyrite from real gold? Use the streak test. If it's pyrite, the streak will be black. Pyrite is good for something, though. For centuries, it was used to make fire. Strike pyrite against flint or iron and watch the sparks fly. So Mr. Chi picked up my nugget and held it up to the sun. Then he pulled out a tile and did a streak test. "We want to be sure this isn't fool's gold," Mr. Chi said. It turns out I wasn't a fool. The streak was bright yellow. "You've got the golden touch, Carlos," Mr. Chi told me. "I think we should head on out to Bright Angel Mine. We'll see what you can find there." Mr. Chi climbed up on to the front of the stagecoach to drive with Ms. Frizzle. I climbed inside to show all the kids my nugget. Before long, the bouncing of the stagecoach stopped. We all jumped out to see where we were. "Bright Angel Mine," I read from the old wooden sign hanging over the mine entrance. "This is it." "I hope we find buried treasure," Tim said. "I did a report on that." "I believe your grandfather must have worked this mine," Mr. Chi said to me. "It's where he would have found that chunk of gold in your pocket. Now let's see if your luck holds out inside the mine." All right, our next thing we're reading is Buried Treasure by Tim. Whoop, there it is. Gold, silver, and platinum are called precious metals. They are rare, beautiful, and expensive. Precious metals can be found in two places. One, in deposits that fill cracks in the earth's crust. Or two, mixed in with sand and gravel at the bottoms of streams. What is the most common use of a precious metal? Silver is used in photographic film. Silver crystals on the film react to light and capture an image. Get the picture? All right, now we have a warning. Mines can be very dangerous. Unless you have a certified mining expert, a world-famous science teacher, and a magic school bus, steer clear of abandoned mines. Never explore one on your own. At the entrance to the mine, we found an old mine car from the days of the Wild West. It was only big enough for 2 people, but that wasn't a problem. We were so distracted by the mine that we didn't keep an eye on Ms. Frizzle. When we turned around, she had a big surprise. The Magic School stagecoach had turned into the Magic School mine car. I ran up to the real mine car and grabbed a spot at the hand pump that made the car go. Ms. Frizzle hopped in beside me. "Okay," Mr. Chi said as the rest of the kids jumped into the Magic School mine car. "Pump that handle and we'll be inside the mine in no time." Ms. Frizzle handed out hard hats with lights on the front of them, and we were off. Ms. Frizzle and I led the way, and soon we were zooming through the dark mine. Liz steered the Magic School mine car behind us. "Turn into the tunnel on the left," Mr. Chi called out. "That's where the last gold was found in here." We made a quick turn to the left and shot through the darkness until we came to the end of the tunnel. "Okay, everybody out," Miss Frizzle said. "Here are some hammers to chip out the ore. Start hammering." I grabbed a hammer and went over to the wall of stone where the tunnel ended. The light on my hard hat lit up the rock face. I thought I saw what looked like a streak of ore zigzagging through the rock. I hit at it as hard as I could with my hammer. All around me, the other kids were chipping away at the walls of the tunnel. "Hey, Mr. Chi," I said as my hammer chipped off a chunk of rock. "I think I may have found—" Suddenly, my voice was drowned out by a deep rumbling sound. It echoed through the tunnel we'd come through. Then the earth felt like it was moving beneath our feet. "Earthquake!" Mr. Chi yelled out over the rumbling sound. "We've got to get out of here." I grabbed the chunk of rock that I had chipped off and stuck it in my pocket as I ran for the Magic School mine car. "Let's go, class," Miss Frizzle said. "We haven't a minute to spare." Ms. Frizzle pushed the red button on her remote control. After that, everything happened faster than a speeding bullet. The mine car turned into a Magic School bullet train. We piled in, and the train shot down the tunnel tracks toward the mine entrance. I looked behind us. Rock was crumbling down from the tunnel ceiling and covering the tracks. "I see light at the end of the tunnel," Dia yelled. We shot out of the mine, and not a second too soon. There was a giant rumble as a rock crashed down and blocked the entrance to Bright Angel Mine. "Whew! That was a close one," Miss Frizzle said. "Too close for comfort," Marita added. Then she turned to me. "And I'm sorry you didn't have a chance to find gold in Bright Angel Mine just like your grandfather, Carlos." I felt in my pocket for the rock. Had I lost it during the earthquake? No, it was still there. With a big smile, I pulled out my rock and held it up in the sunlight. The sun glinted off the streaks of gold in my rock. "Carlos," Mr. Chi said to me, "you're as good as gold." And now we're about to wrap it up with Chapter 8. That's a magnificent mesa, Keisha, Miss Frizzle said, and a beautiful butte. Thanks, Miss Frizzle, but it's not as cool as seeing the real thing, Keisha said. We were back in the classroom, working on our rocks and minerals projects. Keisha was making a clay panorama of desert rocks. Dorothy Ann was putting the finishing touches on a huge poster about geodes. She had her geode from the desert displayed below it. I walked over to see what Arnold was doing. He had a sponge cut into the shape of a bone, and when he had it sitting in a pan with water, of water with Epsom salts. What's that, Arnold? I asked. It's my petrification project, Arnold said. I was so petrified this whole trip that I thought it would be nice to see something else petrified for a change. Arnold explained that the bone-shaped sponge would absorb the minerals in the Epsom salts and then turn it hard as rock. The sponge would turn to stone, just like fossils do. I headed back to my project, my super-duper rock collection. I had added my gold nugget and my chunk of veined gold from Bright Angel Mine. I was rearranging them one more time when Miss Frizzle tapped me on the shoulder. When I turned around, Miss Frizzle was holding something out to me, a t-shirt that read, Rock Hound of the Year. Yes, I yelled, that rocks! I pulled the t-shirt over my head. Everyone in the class began to cheer and clap. Listen, I said, I've added something else to my Rock Hound project. We're all ears, Carlos, Miss Frizzle said. I turned around and pressed the button on my boombox. The music blasted out, and I jumped up on my desk, holding my piece of gold from the Bright Angel Mine. This is the Rock Hound Rock, I said, grinning, written and sung by the Rock Hound of the Year. The class started to clap with me as I sang my song. The Rock Hound Rock. Check out this rock. It looks real old. It might be pyrite. It might be gold. Look at its color. Look at its glow. Check out its hardness according to Mohs. I did all the tests, and now I know I'm a rocking rock hound with gold to show. The class cheered, and that was the end of my most awesome field trip ever on the Magic School Bus.
Please come to the office.
Sorry about that, but that is the end of the book. All right, I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you liked this Magic Schoolhouse chapter book, you can find these at the library. They have all sorts of different topics, and if we ever do return to school, I have a big pile of them here in my class. All right, but it's a fun, short, nonfiction read that ties in a fictional story. All right, thank you all for reading. Have a wonderful day.